Okay, so I'm going to outline what I call the 7.5 Ps in a powerful presentation. And these are basically the steps you've got to take, the processes in place to make a presentation. The first thing is planning. And planning, by that I mean you have to work out what's the environment you're going to be in, who's the audience, how are you going to talk to them, what can you relate with, what materials do you use, what technology will you use, will there be technology? What if technology fails, the PowerPoint? So you're going to think about all the environment and the audience and what you're going to use and when you're going to use them. So that's the planning stage. Following on from the planning is the next step. The purpose. And many people fall down here. I've asked people, what's the point of this presentation, or what's the point of a speech? And they look at me in amazement and they don't know. Have you got a very clear purpose, what you're trying to achieve? Is it about selling? Is it about informing, educating, persuading? Are you inspiring, motivating? Are you just sowing seeds to do the next step? Have a very clear purpose. And behind the purpose, there must be an underlying message or theme to follow through with. But that is probably one of the biggest areas that most people fail on. They can come out of the idea of a speech and come out of everything together, but there's no real reason, rhyme or reason for it. The next stage really is, I'll say it's the presence, it's in different orders, it's your presence. It's your presence which is the believability in you. Presence is what I call your certainty that what you're offering is correct. Do you believe that you have the ability to actually attract people? Never mind as a speaker. Do you believe in yourself as a whole? Do you believe in what you're offering? And if you don't, then there's techniques you have to work on to get your self-belief up, because that's what it's about. Your personal belief, your personal brand, your personal values, and believing in what you're talking about. The fourth P. The fourth P is passion. Do you have a passion for what you're talking about? Do you come across as dynamic, energetic, passionate? Now that doesn't mean you've got to go rah-rah all the time and those sort of things. In fact, we do talk about having a sequence where you actually take things down as well at times. But does your belief, your energy and your love for the subject, does it come across? Or are you going to be in a flat, monotone voice telling people all the things that you really love, continuously like that forever and ever? So you have to use your voice, your body, your energy. You have to utilise all of the skills. But people want to be engaged by someone who's entertaining and passionate in their subject. The next P is really about people. Who's the people you're trying to connect with? And are you connecting with them? So you have to know something about them. You have to work out, what's it about? Is it your audience? Is it your target audience? Is it your niche market? But more importantly, what are their interests? So how you can connect with them, which is more than just smiling. It may be it's engaging them in activities, in conversation, perhaps rhetorically, maybe just thinking, giving them things to think about. But it's something that will intrigue them and interest them. So let's move on finally, keep going. The next P is the process by which you structure things together. It is the structure. Think of it this way, if you go on a journey, you can take a straightforward, easy path where you've got a map and you've actually signposted where you're going. So you've put down, you're going through this town, and it's easily and clear to follow. Or you could have a very tortuous route where you're saying, we're going to go from here to there, and there's something, somewhere around there is going this way, and it may be this road, or it could be on that, or perhaps if it's raining we can try it, and it's very difficult to work out where you're going. The structure is to have a very simple system where you can easily segue from one bit to the next, where people are led and know where they're being led, and where introductions and endings can fit what you're talking about. We'll talk more about structure another time, but this is to let you know there is a process for doing that. So the process is to structure it so people can easily follow you. Finally, we come to the last bit. Yes, the presentation itself. This is what it's all about, the content. Now, I've heard lots of different people talk about what's important in a good speech, and one very top speaker, professional speaker, advocates that delivery isn't important and structure, it's all about the content. And he's absolutely spot on. When you've got to the very top, when you're at the top of your profession, because you've mastered all these other skills, all you really focus on is the presentation. But for most people, before we get into the presentation, we have to master the other skills too. So this is the content, what you're putting in there, how you're putting it in there, alliteration, stories, the points you make. This is also your pitch if you're doing a sales bit. And within here, you can actually do things like sell from the stage, or you can sow seeds. In fact, you should be seeding throughout the whole process. But this is what it all comes down to, the presentation. I usually leave the half P till later to intrigue people. I could teach you all now, but what really the half P is about practice, practice, practice. Because frankly, it's always about stage time. I'm a firm believer in something that one of the world champions of public speaking says, it's stage time, stage time, stage time, and that's where the practice comes in.
Steve Katchik is a highly effective trainer and coach in public speaking and presenting, and he's put together some great information for you, including a free interview where he really goes into depth into some of the key strategies you can implement immediately to improve your speaking and presenting skills just by implementing a few very simple strategies. So enter your details in the box over on the right, and we'll be happy to send that interview to you immediately.